In this segment, we're going to talk about the entire rappel process, about how to rig ourselves for rappel, how to set up the anchor and rig the rappel rope itself, and then finally going through the entire rappelling process. So let's start with getting ourselves ready to rappel. Now, this is a great use of our double length stone runner. We're going to use this to set up an extension from our belay loop for our rappel device. All right, so I'm going to kind of offset that sewn part here because I want to keep it out of the way. And I'm just going to take this runner and run it through my harness tie-in points, just like where the rope runs when we're climbing, tying into the rope. Okay, I'm going to bring this up, and I have what's called a basket hitch. All right, so just put those together. Now we're going to put a knot in this, and you can use an overhand knot or figure eight. I happen to like a figure eight because it uses a little more material and shortens this a little bit, but an overhand is fine too. Whatever you like will work. So let's see if we can tie this in a reasonable figure eight and get our extension. All right, so there we have a reasonable extension. It's redundant with this knot, so I have two loops in my harness, and I have two loops to connect my rappel device to. So I'll go ahead and take my carabiner, connect it in there, and that will be my extended rappel device. So now that we have it all set up, let's just put it out of the way, and we'll be ready to use it when we need it. All right? So that's our setup. Now I want to talk about the anchor itself and considerations out here in what I'll call the danger zone. So the danger zone would be any time we're within a body length of an edge or a dangerous situation here. So if we're in that range, we want to be connected to a anchor system, some personal anchor, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and get my personal anchor out and get it set up before I step close to the edge. Girth this on my harness. And connect it to the anchor. In this case here, I have a cordelette. I'm going to find the shelf of the cordelette, clip in, or I could clip it in the master point. That would be fine too. All right. This just is a little bit out of the way and a little more convenient to use. So now I've already checked my anchor. I know I have a good anchor. I'm locked on the anchor, and I'm feeling comfortable that I can now work out here in this danger zone. This anchor was probably pretty close to the edge, right? That would make sense. So now that I'm safe to work, let's set up the rope for rappel. Now I have a rappel ring here, which is a common feature that you'll find in rappels that are used often. All right, somebody would have set up this anchor. In this case, it was with some 7mm cord and a rappel ring, nice beefy rappel ring. I have to run the rope through that rappel ring and find the middle. Well, the first thing I'm going to do while I have the end in my hand is to tie a stopper knot in the end. I want a stopper knot in both ends of this rappel rope. All right, I'm going to tie that grapevine knot. I'm going to wrap once, twice around my thumb, kind of going backwards again, maybe 3 times. All right, which is fine. Make it a little bit bigger. Pull that tail out, okay, make sure I have enough tail, and really snug it down. So I need a nice, tight, fat barrel knot, another name for it, on that end of the rope. So I've got that. All right, now I need to find the other end of the rope. So I'll reach down, and here it is. Here's the other end. And while we're here, let's put that stopper knot in it. Once, twice, and go 3 times. Put the tail through and snug it really down. Really snug it down. Okay, so now I have stopper knots in both ends of my rappel rope. And I'm ready to coil this. Now I'm going to coil the ends together, starting at the ends. And that way, when I'm done coiling, I'll know that I have the middle of the rope up here at the anchor and ends that are the same length to go down to the ground. So now let's just go ahead and coil this rope. I have butterfly coil in one hand. And if the rope is really long, which it probably is, I might have to do a couple of coils, and that's fine. All right? The way we coil a rope and the way we throw the rope is really dependent on the situation we're in, whether the base of the rappel that we're going to here is straight down from us and vertical or overhanging, or is the base way out away from the where we are, the rock top, and we have to throw the rope way out. And whether it's windy or not will also be a consideration. So in this case today, we have great weather, we don't have a lot of wind, we can see the bottom, we just need to drop the rope down, throw it out a little bit to make sure it's a clean throw. Before we throw the rope, we're going to warn the people below, anyone who might be down there, that the rope is coming down. So I'll yell, rope, big outside voice once, and then wait a few seconds, give people a chance to get out of the way, all right, because they know a rope's coming. And then I'll yell, rope, a second time and throw the rope, all right. So hopefully I can look down at the ground and see that the rope really is on the ground, all right. And maybe somebody's down there and I can yell down and ask, hey, are the ends on the ground? And they say, yeah, you're good. I go, yeah, great. So perfect. So the ends are on the ground. So now we've got the rope rigged, it's on the ground, and we're ready to get ourselves into the rappel. All right. We set up our extended rappel ahead of time, so we're ready to go. And now we're going to see why we need 2 slots in our device, our rappel device, because we have 2 strands we need to rappel on. So I'm going to make a pair of bites, and I'm going to put one through one slot, the other through the other slot, and I'm going to make sure I capture both of them in my carabiner, and I'm going to lock my carabiner. Remember, we lock our carabiners as soon as we use them. All right, so I've got my rappel device set up, it's locked, it's properly through the 2 slots, and I've captured both slots in this carabiner. Get it up high here toward the anchor. And now I'm ready to connect the safety backup to my brake hand. Now the way the rappel works is that all the work is being done by this rappel device, all the friction in this rappel device, the rope running over these edges and around this carabiner. So that's doing all the work holding our weight. Our brake hand, we call it brake because this is how we stop ourselves or control our speed, just needs to control the angle and the speed at which the rope runs through the device, all right? But most of the work's getting done here. Death grip not required, all right? But let's back up this brake hand. We're gonna use this 5mm cord, little skinnier cord. It's tied up like a prusik, okay? But it's really gonna be, we'll call this our auto block because we're gonna use it for an auto block friction hitch. First thing I'll do is connect it to my belay loop. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap it in an auto block hitch around the brake strands. I'm going to get the grapevine knot here out of the way, and then I'm just going to start wrapping this around. And this is going to be enough wraps here for me. I know from experience that this will grab. So I've just wrapped 2 or 3 times around, put it back in the locking carabiner and lock it. So both ends are locked in the carabiner. And I'm going to check to see that it will hold. I'm going to pull up, and sure enough, this auto block hitch grabs the rope. All right? So that's an important feature because if I'm rappelling and I let go, lose control of the brake with my brake hand, this auto block is going to slide up and capture the brake and put it on. All right, so this is often called a third hand. So this is a great backup feature. All right, so now I'm completely set up in the rappel. I think that everything is rigged properly. I'm still tethered to the anchor system, and it's time to double check, maybe even triple check everything. So I will say that the rappelling process is a place where we have a lot of accidents and terrible accidents in climbing. So this is a dangerous time, okay, for lots of different reasons. One is that we're giving up our control completely to the system here. When we were climbing, our ropes and our gear were backups to our climbing, but now we're completely dependent on our system working properly to keep us safe. There can be things going on that can increase our stress level and increase the probability that we make a mistake. This is probably late in the day. We've already done our climb. We're feeling successful there. We just are on our way down. So our attention levels come down. We might be rushed because we feel like there's people waiting on us here. There's weather coming in. Perhaps there's lightning. I need to get off this peak. We need to get down now. We're losing daylight. So lots of reasons why we could be stressed and rushed and not paying adequate attention. So we have to make ourselves slow down, calm down, focus, and check the system, and then check the system again. All right? Now I'm systematic about my checks in the system. I start from one end to the other. I don't jump around so that I don't miss anything. Now I'll start at the anchor. I've checked the bolts. I'm happy with them. I know they're good placements. The cordelette is my cordelette. I know it's a good cordelette. I'm confident in it. I've checked it. The rappel ring is good. I've rigged the rope properly. Both ends are in the ground. I checked that. It's running through my rappel device properly. I've clipped both loops into the carabiner. The carabiner's locked. It's on both strands of my extension. My extension is through my harness correctly, and my harness is on correctly. I'm double backed on all three buckles. So end to end, it looks good to me. All right. I'm still in the tether. Maybe I'm the only one up here. I have to make sure I don't have any partner here to check me. So maybe I'm just going to run through this one more time, okay, and make sure that I really have it set up correctly. All right. And it looks good to me. All right. So now I believe I'm ready to rappel. I'll get myself tied to the anchor. I'll get this auto block set properly. Before I remove my anchor, I'm going to body weight this whole system, okay, and convince myself that in fact it's holding. My anchor's not. This is there as backup. So I'm going to body weight my system just like I'm going to rappel, okay? The last thing I'm going to do before I actually go is to remove this tether. I've checked everything. I've checked everything again. I'm feeling confident in this, okay? I'm going to go ahead and remove my tether and actually start rappelling. All right. Now actually, before I took that tether off, I should have had my hand on the brake, okay? Although I've checked my auto block, and all my auto block's working too, but I like those backup systems. So, got the brake hand on. Now to actually start rappelling, I need to disengage this auto block, okay? So I'm gonna make the auto block loose, and it really takes two hands to do this, okay? So I'm going to loosen that auto block. I'm gonna mind it with one hand and control the brake with the other. Before I started rappelling, yell, "On rappel!" to everybody below. And that's just a warning to people that I'm on my way down, okay? And be aware that I'm coming down, I might kick off some rock on them, so they're gonna get out of the way, give me the space to rappel. I yelled on rappel, and I start rappelling down, all right? Now I continue on down to the bottom. Thank goodness, the rope really is down there. I don't have any big drama going on. If I did have some drama going on, for example, the rope ends really aren't on the ground, it's really nice to have this auto block. I can let go, I can go hands free actually, and fix problems. In this case here, if the ends are too long or too short and I really can't get down, thank goodness I've got some self-rescue skills, then I would have to employ those to go back up the rope and figure out the problem and fix it, whatever it is, okay? But at least I can go back up the rope and I'm not that person on the news hanging on the rope looking for a rescue from the fire department. All right, so I got down to the ground, yay, okay? I'm feeling pretty good now, I'm feeling much safer. All right, I'm on the ground, it's time to get out of the system. So I'm gonna get my auto block off. Comes off easily, leave it in the carabiner. So the nice thing about that is you don't have to take this off your harness, you're not gonna drop anything. And then go ahead and give yourself some slack and get out of the rappel. I like to get that wire right back into that carabiner so I mitigate the risk of dropping this device. Still connected to me. I can use both hands to pull the rope out, there, and I'm completely free of the rappel rope. At this point, I can yell up to the top, "Off rappel!" And that'll let the people know up above I'm completely free of the rope and they can get on and rappel down. So that is the entire rappel process.